In this film, Takiyüddin is at your age. Do you want to be friend with him? Friends, I am Takiyüddin. My real name is Takiyüddin Erasit. I am the last great representative of Islamic astronomy. I am one of the most important mathematicians and astronomer of my time. Would you like to know me better? I was born in Damascus in 1526. This city is one of the important historical cities of the Islamic world and is known as the oldest city in the Middle East. Over the years, I grew up in a family of Turkish origin in this distinguished city that has a variety of cultures. My beloved mother always supported me with her love and care. My father was a mudarris in the madrasas of Damascus. I got my first education from my father. My father taught me to read Arabic and the Quran. Then I took lessons from various teachers in Cairo and Damascus. I spent my days in education. I enjoyed learning, reading and researching new information. When it was 1550, when I was 24 years old, I went to Istanbul with my family. Istanbul fascinated us all. I continued my education in this beautiful city. I received training from the most important professors of the period. After this education period, I went to Egypt and became a professor. From now on, I was going to transfer what I learned from my teachers to my students, whose eyes would shine brightly like you, who will be the elders of the future, and I would raise them. While taking care of my students, I was also working on astronomy and mathematics. Abdülkerim Çelebi, who deeply influenced the formation of my scientific personality, came into my life during this period. I had great respect for my teacher and dedicated my book on optics to him in order to thank him, even a little, for his great work on me. This book of mine, which I called The Quality of Light and the Formation of Vision, was an important book in optics science, which was not researched a lot during my era. I have written various articles on mathematics, astronomy, physics, optics, mechanics and medicine. My interest in astronomy was so great that it was easily seen in my works. If you read one of my works one day, you can see it very clearly, and at the same time you will make me very happy. Guys, I loved observing everything around me. My passion for examining what was going on around me at a young age evolved into the sky as I grew up. I have explained the irregularities in the movements of the Moon, Earth, and the other planets at a scale close to today's values, with the calculations I made based only on the data I obtained from my observations. I explained to the Sultan of the period, Murad III, that the Ortzik could no longer meet the need, that new observations were needed, that the importance of establishing an observatory in order to continue the astronomical studies carried out in the Islamic world in the Ottoman Empire. The Sultan immediately assigned his vizier, Sokullu Mehmet Pasha, and Hoca Saadettin Efendi to assist me. We established the Istanbul Observatory, equipped with the most perfect observation instruments of the period, some of which I invented myself, and which is of great importance in the history of Turkish science. It was the first observatory of the Ottoman Empire. Children, I have designed many things from mechanical watches to levels and various tools used to draw water from lakes, rivers and wells. I became one of the most important engineers trained by the Ottoman Empire. I developed the ring sphere with 6 rings for determining the coordinates of the fixed stars. I built the wall dial up to 7 meters in size to make calculations about the sun and planets. I designed a mechanism to determine the heights of the stars. The most important of my astronomy studies was finding the slope between the Earth and the equator. Guys, in my time, technological opportunities were limited. I found the slope with only 1 minute and 40 seconds difference from its actual value today under the conditions of time. Have you heard of the famous 16th century astronomer Copernicus? He's a very famous astronomer. If you haven't heard of his name, you can find a lot of information about him with a little research. Here I found, defined and proved the terms in the field of trigonometry long before the Copernicus I was talking about. I have prepared tables in this area. I started to use decimal fractions by developing a system of my own in the field of arithmetic. I was the first to introduce decimal fractions that you are familiar with from my math classes, and I was the first mathematician to use them extensively. I have solved one of the most important problems of astronomers, the complex computation system. I brought a new system to astronomical calculations. Do you know, guys, what would you call a telescope today, which in my time I mentioned a kind of lens that can show things far away, is mentioned by me for the first time. In 1559, I made a mechanical watch and wrote a book about the watches I designed. This work of mine is the most comprehensive work on the subject in the century I lived in. For the first time in the world, I showed the second in my watches, which I thought of as an observation tool. Dear children, I do not know how to describe the happiness of reading, researching, and living unforgettable works to the world. Think about it. The tools you design make life easier for many people in the world, or new inventions are created by developing these tools. It is truly a great pleasure. There are so many unexplored things in life waiting to be discovered. Why not be one of the people who reveal them and put them at the service of humanity? I hope you never stopped wondering and pursuing your interests. I would be very happy if you remember me while looking at the stars in the sky. I greet you all with love.